Hi, this is Daniel DiTuro. Are you concerned about natural and synthetic additives in processed foods? In this video, I'm sharing what is known and not known about the safety of 40 common additives in prepared and restaurant foods. In last week's video, I covered these 20 food additives. In this week's video, I'll discuss these 20 food additives. High fructose corn syrup added to hundreds of prepared foods is one of the most controversial food additives. HFCS is a low-cost alternative to refined white sugar. It's replaced sugar in hundreds of processed foods. Unlike corn syrup that's not very sweet, HFCS is slightly sweeter than white sugar. It has 10% more fructose than refined white sugar. HFCS is not limited to sweet foods. It's added to hundreds of savory foods like soups and frozen meals. Some conspiracy theorists blame HFCS for America's obesity and diabetes epidemic. Some fad diets condemn HFCS while praising high fructose agave nectar as a healthy, natural sweetener. Refined or natural, sugars are empty calories added to low-quality prepared foods. Hydrogenated starch hydrolysate, HSH, is a sugar-free sweetener. HSH is a sugar alcohol made by hydrogenating corn, potato, or wheat starch. It's similar to the sugar alcohol sorbitol. Like other sugar alcohols, HSH is sugar-free but not zero-calorie. It supplies 3 calories per gram versus 4 calories for sugar. HSH is not absorbed like sugar, so it doesn't produce blood glucose spikes. Undigested HSH can become food for gut bacteria, causing gas, bloating, and diarrhea. Hydrolyzed vegetable protein is a flavor enhancer added to many prepared foods. HVP is a plant protein, chemically broken down into its amino acids. It allows the use of lower quality ingredients by enhancing the flavor of prepared foods. HVP is safe for most people, but it can contain MSG that can cause adverse reactions in some people. Invert sugar is a sweetener added to dozens of low nutrition value foods. It's a man-made sugar that's sweeter than white sugar and dissolves more easily. It's made using enzymes or acids to separate sucrose into glucose and fructose. Like sucrose, invert sugar is 50% glucose and 50% fructose. It has no nutrition value except for adding empty calories. Lactose is added to prepared foods, dietary supplements, and prescription medicines. Lactose is a milk sugar. With about 60% of the world's population being lactose intolerant, it may seem odd that it's a common food additive. Lactose in milk can cause bloating, gas, cramps, and diarrhea. Most people can tolerate small amounts of lactose added to prepared foods. Sugar alcohols are sugar-free sweeteners. The most commonly used are maltitol, mannitol, sorbitol, and xylitol. They're added to a wide variety of foods and beverages, especially low-carb diet foods. Sugar alcohols occur in nature. Prepared foods use man-made sugar alcohols as a sugar-free sweetener. Unlike artificial sweeteners that are up to 200 times sweeter than sugar, sugar alcohols are about the same sweetness. As a result, it takes more sugar alcohol to provide the same sweetness as less than 1 gram of an artificial sweetener. Unlike zero-calorie artificial sweeteners, Sugar alcohols have 2 to 3 calories per gram versus 4 calories per gram for sugar. Low-carb foods use sugar alcohols to reduce the number of net carbs. Because sugar alcohols are not fully absorbed like sugar, they can become food for gut bacteria. In sensitive people, 20 to 30 grams can have a laxative effect or cause gas, bloating, and cramps. Monk fruit extract is a sugar-free sweetener used in prepared sugar-free and keto foods. Monk fruit has been eaten in China for hundreds of years. Monk fruit extract, also known as monk fruit, is about 200 times sweeter than sugar. It's used in many prepared foods to replace all or some sugar. It's marketed as a natural sweetener. Like most added sweeteners, it's a man-made product. Its natural sweetness comes from moghrosides extracted using a multi-step process. While monk fruit has been eaten for hundreds of years and may be safe for most people, there are no human studies of long-term use of sweeteners made from monk fruit moghrosides. Products made with monk fruit extract can also have other poorly tested additives. Monosodium Glutamate, MSG, has been used in dozens of prepared foods for decades. MSG is an amino acid added to enhance the flavor of prepared foods. It's been used for hundreds of years and is a common ingredient in Chinese restaurant foods. It's also added to hundreds of prepared foods, adding additional sodium. MSG is safe for most people, but some people have adverse reactions like headaches, nausea, fatigue, wheezing, and difficulty breathing. People sensitive to MSG should also avoid these glutamate ingredients, natural flavors, torula yeast, and hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Partially hydrogenated vegetable oils have been used in hundreds of prepared foods for decades. They're made by reacting oil with hydrogen. PHOs contain varying levels of trans fatty acids. Trans fat has been banned in the US since May 2019. Trans fat increases LDL cholesterol and the risk of heart disease. Some countries still allow the use of PHOs. Foods imported into the US should have 0 PHO and trans fat. If you're concerned about PHOs and trans fat when traveling abroad, check the WHO website for PHO use by country. Phosphoric acid and phosphates is one of the most common food additives. It's used to acidify and flavor cola beverages. Calcium and iron phosphates are used for mineral supplements. Sodium phosphate is a leavening in baking powder. Disodium dihydrogen phosphate helps retain the color of frozen potatoes. Low levels of phosphates are safe for most people. Diets high in phosphates can increase the risk of osteoporosis, kidney, and heart disease. People with kidney and heart disease should restrict prepared foods and eat a low phosphate diet. Propylene glycol is another common additive in prepared foods that's used as a thickener and antioxidant. It also helps maintain moisture, extending the shelf life of baked goods like cakes and muffins. Propylene glycol is safe for most people, but some people can have allergic reactions. It's not listed as an allergen, but is usually included in the ingredients list. Quinine is used to add a bitter flavor to beverages. It's a drug that was commonly used to treat malaria. It's an approved food additive to add bitter flavoring. The small levels of quinine added to foods is generally safe for most people. Salt is added to thousands of prepared foods. It's an essential nutrient, but the amount needed for good health is small compared to the amount consumed. Salt is sodium chloride. Your body needs both sodium and chloride. Salt occurs naturally in most foods and beverages. Even drinking water has some salt. Some people are salt sensitive, meaning their body cannot remove excess sodium. Too much excess sodium can increase blood volume and blood pressure. Diuretics are common blood pressure medications. They work by increasing urination, removing excess water and sodium. U.S. dietary guidelines recommend limiting added sodium to 2,300 milligrams per day, about 1 teaspoon. The major sources of salt and sodium in the American diet is prepared foods, including restaurant foods. Many restaurant menu items provide 1 or more days' worth of sodium. Salt isn't the only source of sodium. Sodium benzoate, used as a preservative and food additive, is another source. Sodium benzoate has been used for over 100 years to prevent spoilage of acidic foods. It occurs naturally in plants and animals and is considered safe for most people. People sensitive to sodium benzoate can develop hives, asthma, and other allergic reactions. Another controversial food additive are the preservatives sodium nitrite and sodium nitrate. Both have been used to preserve meats for decades. Without sodium nitrite, bacon, hot dogs, and cured meats would look gray and unappetizing. With more people looking for natural alternatives to chemical additives, more and more products are sold as uncured. The USDA requires products made without sodium nitrite or nitrate be labeled uncured. This is misleading because uncured does not mean the product has no sodium nitrite or nitrate. It means the meat was cured using high nitrite celery powder or celery juice. I know some of you are thinking, don't nitrates and nitrites produce blood pressure lowering and energy increasing nitric oxide? Not when they come from high fat and high sodium cured or uncured meats. Instead of boosting energy and improving blood flow, these foods can increase your risk of colon cancer. Foods made with nitrites and nitrates, regardless of the source, should be avoided or eaten in moderation. Sucralose is an artificial sweetener added to diet foods and beverages. It's been used as an artificial sweetener in the U.S. since 1998. It's added to both sweet and savory foods. Sucralose is made by reacting sugar with chlorine. Like other artificial sweeteners, the safety of sucralose has been debated for decades. Eaten in moderation, sucralose is considered safe for most people. Sugar has been used for hundreds of years to sweeten beverages and foods. Refined sugar is made from sugarcane and sugar beets. Raw sugar is refined sugar without removing the molasses. The abundant use of added sugar has turned what were healthy foods like breakfast cereals and yogurt into candy. Sugar is added to so many foods and beverages, the average U.S. consumption is about 125 grams daily, about 500 empty calories. 125 grams is added sugars, excluding naturally occurring sugars in fruits and vegetables. Too much sugar overwhelms the pancreas's ability to make insulin and provides more fuel than cells need. The result is increased blood sugar and the risk of type 2 diabetes. U.S. dietary guidelines recommend limiting all added sugars to 25 grams a day for women and 36 grams for men. Most added sugars come from prepared foods. Food manufacturers use 50 grams a day for a 2,000 calorie diet. Sulfites is another common additive in prepared foods and beverages. Sulfites prevent dried fruit and frozen potatoes from discoloring and is used as a preservative. They're widely used to preserve fresh and frozen prepared foods. Sulfites are also used in wine making. Sulfites are safe for most people, but some people are sulfite sensitive. They can have a severe allergic reaction or die. Foods and beverages made with sulfites must include it on the label or ingredients list. Tert-Butylhydroquinine, usually abbreviated TBHQ, is used as an antioxidant in vegetable oils, snack foods, and other foods containing fat. TBHQ slows the oxidation of oils and fats in prepared foods, extending shelf life by preventing rancidity. Most consumer cooking oils, including RBD oils, have no TBHQ. TBHQ is added to preserve commercial oils and fats. It's chemically related to BHA. The body converts BHA into TBHQ. Like many food additives, there's conflicting safety data about long-term consumption of TBHQ. Transglutaminase is a protein-binding enzyme used to glue meat together. If you've ever wondered how non-uniform pieces of chicken, turkey, or ham becomes uniform, supersized deli meats, it's by using meat glue to bind together smaller pieces into one large uniform piece. It can also be used to glue scraps of beef or other meat to form steaks and roasts. When used for that purpose, bacteria that was on the outside can be trapped on the inside. This increases the risk of not killing harmful bacteria in undercooked steaks and roasts. The main source of meat glue is high-sodium cured consumer and restaurant meats that should be eaten in moderation. Please leave a comment if you have any questions about this video. Thank you for watching and healthy eating.